Eventually we'll see LGD pick up a very fast tier 1.
Yeah, much like you saw Complexity try to do with the Timber Saw and combined a little bit with the Leshrac, right? The moment they've taken down that tower, that leaves them free to start rotating around the map. If they can delay this Jakiro and his ability to take that tier 1 a bit longer, maybe he won't have impact in those other lanes. They're going to try and catch Swindle's heal. They do manage to get a Burrow Strike and a little bit of damage. Maybe they can actually chase him down. They do have both Moo and Z-Freak here. Danking actually goes for the Burrow Strike, does manage to pick up the kill, and he's going to just try and TP himself away right in front of Z-Freak, though. That won't work out. He easily gets hooked up and will end up going down. Cancel is actually going to be one. Take that last hit. He's going to be very happy with it, especially if he can claim both of these kills, as he will double kill to Cancel, will make his net worth rise quite significantly.
Yeah, that's ultimately what first blood, but 2 kills for the OD in return. At least a slightly favorable Complexity win there. They were having a rough laning stage again. It seems to be a recurring theme for, well, Complexity. They were doing bad in laning stage against G, and also for LGD. They seem to always dominate their laning stages.
All right, maybe you've got the imprisonment, managed to steal that one. He's already been hit by the Fire Blast, but a hook comes in the last second. Z-Freak will instantly die to the Fade Bolt, but this easily gives the opportunity for Cancel to clean up the kill.
He's got
well
a range
worth
drop,
the sacrifice.
Not
He won't die immediately.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe if that Fire Blast wasn't there, he could have pulled something tricky, but does get instantly stunned up. Hey, look at Monkeys. He's got his level 6. Looking for his first opportunity. He's already pinged it out, or at least Swindles has. They want to make this rotation and see if they can shut down the enemy carry nice and early with this hook shot.
Risky kill to go for. They'll probably need a third here, but Disruption goes on cooldown. That's actually go time for Complexity if they can catch the real Luna now. Tell which one it is by the colors.
Oh, he actually hooked straight onto the range creep, which will put him in range for Ame to be able to get him inside the cogs, allowing the rest of his team to be able to TP in, follow this one up, and they get the hook on to Victoria. That's going to be a nice twofer once again. Complexity moving this OD around to great success as his team kind of sets up all these fights for him to clean up kills.
That was really nicely played there, and one of the downsides of often we're seeing teams start to get punished for using that disruption before a fight. If it goes on cooldown because you're making those illusions to push with, that's when you look to initiate it, knowing that that save has been taken away. The response is going to be that top tier 1 tower, but realistically that's a tower that's going down very soon anyways. Regardless of what plays Complex we're going to make, they were kind of out of their depths as far as being able to defend that one, and LGD with the level 6 Sanking and level 5 Jakiro were going to be taking that sooner rather than later.
Ame in some serious trouble. He's trying to get ahead of this battery assault, putting himself through the creep wave, trying to dodge some of it, juke it out, but it's not going to happen. Instead, he stops, turns, and fights, but his ultimate doesn't even land on any of the heroes of Complexity. Full creep wave gets cleaned out. In prison, actually stolen by Maybe, but he's in some trouble, or maybe it's actually the Sanking. Oh no! The hook actually snags the creep, and it's going to be Monkeys Forever, who goes down to the enemy offlaner. Cancel turns around, manages to catch Maybe, slowing him down. Cancel knows that he might need to fight this one out. He actually managed to burn the mana out. No more Burrow Strike available, and Z-Freak was ready to go with the Savior hook if necessary. So they do get the kill on the Luna, traded Monkey's life away, but we don't really need this Clockwork to scale too much, right?
No.
Shutting down Ame is the most important thing.
Yeah, Clockwork doesn't need items at all this game. Ideally for him, he wants the Blade Mail at some point to help return some of that Sanking and Luna damage, but there's no rush to get it. That was such a sick play by Cancel, knowing that he couldn't just keep running from the Sanking. That 2 right clicks he got off burned enough in, or stole enough in, that there was no mana for a Burrow Strike. He was short 4 mana for it. A really good play coming out, but LGD are kind of grouped up down bottom now, ready to try and pressure this tier 1, which is going to be delayed by Z-Freak just through the hook. Ultimately, LGD are going to be looking to 5-man quite a lot. You've got that mid Rubik, something you mentioned that it's not going to scale all too well. You've got the core. Well, the core Sanking as well as a support Jakiro that can push very fast and kind of come online very early. You want to be able to take towers and push the objectives early on.
Yeah, especially with the Sanking being able to pick up fast a very fast Blink Dagger at this rate. He's got 2,100 gold already. They should be able to start 5-manning by the 10-minute mark, but Ame's going to be caught out once again. We said Complexity have to set the tempo here, and they're doing it time and time again. Ame almost goes down. The disruption is there, and Complexity may not be able to follow this one up, especially with the stolen imprisonment. He's disappearing the Luna. Luna is going to be able to survive, and it'll be Monkeys Forever who dies instead. And the attempted gank, they force all the members of LGD into this mid lane, but but I don't think LGD are going to be crying too many tears here. They saved their Luna. He's decently high HP, and we know they want to be 5-manning quite soon.
Yeah, a 3-4-man rotation to come defend a tower is like well, I guess that means we push the mid instead of the bottom lane. Even if they don't get the tower itself, XC is already throwing liquid fire, starting to chip away at it. We'll get it down nice and low, if not take the tower here. So very, very quick rotations coming out, especially from the Shadow Demon. Victoria's been playing that instrumental role earlier today on the Oracle. We're seeing it now on the Shadow Demon. Last game he had a really impressive performance on the Rubik. He has been really good with his rotations throughout LGD's day one of the group stage.
Yeah, I like his efficiency on just time there, of seeing that, okay, we got this sort of window, right? We killed this hero. He just throws out the macro pyre. It's not an ability that you necessarily want to be able to hold on to at all times. He clears a creep wave nice and early, gets a huge chunk of damage on that mid tower because of how quickly he pushes out that wave.
I mean, you know, Complexity aren't going to be giving you that 5v5 teamfight to use. Another hook.
Nice snatch there. They will be able to, thanks to that ward behind the tower, catch Victoria, but Monkeys Forever is once again very deep, and there is really no saving grace. It looks like Z-Freak is instead going to go for Victoria. He does manage to clean up that kill, and Monkeys just one right click or a burrow strike or even a Diabolic Edict to be able to finish him off. Caustic Finale, rather. So they trade 1-for-1 once again, but they are buying space, right?
Sort of, I guess, for an, I mean, OG Jug, yes, they're farming, but I guess similar, and your lineup's going to scale better with the OG Jug compared to just the Luna on the opposing team. I guess the scary thought is if you start losing towers after you get these pickoffs, but finding pickoffs 1-for-1 trades kind of slows down any kind of 5-man push coming out from LGD, and we're seeing them kind of get low in HP, the pressure at mid forces them back to go heal, so LGD not really hitting the timings they'd normally. Ame's really struggling to get that early Humble Dominator we normally see. Hasn't been able to fall back and farm the Ancients just yet. Has had some manual stacks there. And this is the build he really likes to go for, where he maxes the Moonglaves early. It doesn't even get that 4th point in the Lucent Beam. So we'll see him probably head towards that Ancient stack fairly soon.
One thing we haven't really seen is that the early level 6 has allowed maybe to be able to save some heroes and have some effect as a Rubik, but I would say we're not seeing a core Rubik effect on this game so far, right? He's saving some heroes, but in general it's just what a support Rubik would be able to do, just maybe a little bit earlier. Maybe, when do you think that like this hero is really going to have a much heavier impact in this game? Or is it just the fact that Complexity are setting the tempo first?
It is very much the fact Complexity is setting the tempo, because normally you want to be seeing team fights happening, but the way it's working is it's a pick-off kind of game so far. Speaking of pickoffs, it's going to be a Z-Freak kill here. I mean, ideally you're playing Rubik as a core, you want to be seeing lots of kind of fights going on, lots of little skirmishes, but as it stands, Complexity, they find a pickoff, they get out. They're just looking to play that pickoff to create space kind of a game, which doesn't suit a Rubik too well, but LGD are now ready to force the tempo. They finally found a pick-off themselves, which means they can force a tower and put Rubik in a position to perhaps have a higher impact on the game if Complexity try and fight.
Ooh, the smoke does reveal Monkeys Forever. They're going to be able to, they saw that ward place too. So Monkeys Forever is going to be the target here for the imprisonment. It goes down onto Monkeys, dodging all that epicenter damage. Monkeys going to come back decently healthy and has the hookshot ready to go, stalling up the Sand King, but the disruption comes in first, and the saving grace is there from LGD, but a nice snag from Z-Freak, grabs the core, maybe Rubik. He's going to be stalled up. No, the Ice Path doesn't reach. They're going to be able to hold maybe that whole entire time, get the kill. Again, trading a core for core. Monkeys being the sacrificial lamb here to be able to ensure a kill onto LGD. Complexity are really showing off with this Z-Freak Pudge.
Yeah, they're coming in and just fighting so effectively around each other. The coordination with the hooks, with the setups from Monkeys have been really on point throughout this game, and while their early game lane stage didn't go spectacularly, they are such a good team when it comes to these pickoffs.
Oh, he grabbed another one. XD behind the tower was trying to pull the creep wave off of it. That Ice Path will not save you from cancel with that Bloodlust. He is able to output so much damage in such a short period of time.
This is definitely a concern for LGD. And they're already prepped to contest those Ancients. They've got the vision around the area, and rather than blocking the Ancients, they're just setting up by putting an Observer Ward out of range of the common sentry spot on the cliff to try and be able to go in, maybe smoke up, either that or set up for a hook shot or a meat hook itself, and then to kill off the Luna and to win a fight around the area. With that said, Victoria does come in and deward it, so to find that and deny some of that much wanted Complexity vision around that area.
In many ways, right, there's two goals from LGD. It's to push down some of these early towers and buy space for Ame to farm. And I would say Complexity has actually guarded their towers pretty well. Against this kind of lineup, you're expecting most of your Marauder towers to fall by 15 minutes, and they still have that offlane tower.
Yep.
They've been aggressive, they found the pickoffs, they've kept Ame down. It seems like both the objectives of LGD are being stifled by Complexity's movements. Jump in, Juggernaut is going to be targeted for Burrow Strike and an early Luna ultimate to get the chain stun, bring the Juggernaut down, easily claiming that kill and defending that tower.
That's a really nice execution of the much needed kill. It's the kind of kill that, yeah, you've committed an ultimate for it, in like a key ultimate in the Lunas, but guarantees you a tower, so it's effectively kind of winning a team fight in a way. I say that Complexity may look to fight this without the Jug, just because if they hit a hook shot or a meat hook, they can actually find that kind of pick off and turn it back into a 4v4, but very hard to do that with the SD illusions in front. And yeah, they're even pinging out that side, like, who knows what's there, let's be careful. Jakiro goes in for a liquid fire, and even just that one liquid fire could be the death of him if he's not careful.
Very little commitment in this push between Disruption Illusions and Liquid Fire, burning down this Tier 1 tower. It seems like LGD might be able to just chip it down for free. They just leave the Illusions to it, and the rest of LGD starts backing away. Complexity come forward and will be able to take out the Illusions before making sure they manage to get the deny onto that offlane tower.
Back towards mid lane, has the 4 stuff now, so a bit of extra mobility can really help against the initiation and pick off potential of Complexity's draft. CoL want to force this down bottom. They know Luna has no ultimate, and they see this as a time for themselves to shine. These heroes down bottom are...
Epicenter being charged up. GC will then come in with a 2-man Burrow Strike right in the middle of all these heroes. The Epicenter does a decent amount of damage, but there's just not enough follow-up from LGD without their Luna. They can't finish off any of these heroes, and now it's Complexity's turn to strike back as much as Forever managed to land the hook shot. Rising managed to get into the trees with a Burrow Strike, but he's still going to be countered out by Complexity as they find him with the rocket and easily bring him down and the tower. From here, though, where do they go? Ame is already pushed out the top lane and is getting some farm in the jungle. Can they afford to let him just farm some more in exchange for trying to push a tier 2? Looks like they're feeling it right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure they have the damage to efficiently push that bottom tier 2 tower, so they're better off making the move, shutting down LGD, who are getting a bit greedy right there. That was very greedy from them. They tried to defend bottom while Rubik was farming mid. Luna was aggressively farming and pushing the top lane, and they still initiate bottom. I'm seeing 2 heroes underneath the bottom 2 on town. Like, these heroes are kind of sitting ducks. They need to get out. This looks like a terrible 3v5 fight, but they initiated 3v5. Complexity eat them up as expected, but just the 1 kill meant that it wasn't really that big of a loss for LGD. Considering the farm they got elsewhere, that was an acceptable trade for the LGD side, but it is still a very farmed cancel OD they've got to worry about as this game kind of transitions.
Especially if Ame is able to, in an uninterrupted state, be able to clear through this ancient stack. Complexity have yet to be able to take that mid-tier 1 tower out, or the tier 1 tower in the offlane. So LGD currently have very good control over their ancients and will be able to make that the big comeback mechanism for Ame, as he had a little bit of a rough time the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Bit tough to get in and stop those Radiant Ancients from happening, and the timing with Luna's ultimate coming back up. I imagine LGD feeling pretty good about going for this right now. But Complexity showing much better signs of life here as far as game 2 are concerned. The Zfrig Pudge has really been on point. I mean, he's in all 10 of these kills. 3, 2, and 7. He has set up kill after kill for this team. It's been a good showing there, but they've still got their work cut out for them. I mean, Moo's still kind of struggling as far as his own farm and item progression. We talk about how Cancel's doing well in the OD, but it does feel like Moo isn't quite at that state where he's going to be able to have a big impact fighting into the Luna until he gets a few more items.
In which case, do you think Complexity should be shying away from team fights when they know the Luna ultimate is up? For example, right now, they're kind of posed to pressure mid a bit, but the Luna does have the ultimate up, and they should know that.
They should... yeah, absolutely. I think they want to try and avoid any kind of a team fight. It's fight around your smokes. Find those key pickoffs. Figure out who's alone farming. For the most part, like earlier, it was the top lane, the Luna. They need to be able to turn the tides for themselves by finding that pickoff to turn it into like a 4v5. Use the hook shot. Use Pudge's hook, because straight up trying to force a tower is a really bad way to start a fight against Sanking Jakiro.
You already see them attempting the initiation. They do manage to grab Swindles, and despite the pullback there of the meat hook, it actually grabbed the Sand King instead of the Ogre. Sand King steps himself in front of that to make sure they do manage to get the pick off on the 5 position of CoL.
And Sand King having Blink and Full Staff at this point allows him to have a very big impact when he's initiating. Gives him a way in as well as a way out. And LGD I think LGD with the 4-stars, this game gets a lot easier for them to maneuver and fight around all those positioning tools of complexity. The 2 hookers, as well as the OD Astral, which often puts heroes in bad spots. You can then force them out post Astral, so game gets much more LGD favored when it comes to trying to push, trying to team fight around these 4-stars. May even see Luna look to upgrade the Dragon Lance once she has something like a Manta style, and complexity. They've been finding these pickoffs, but it only gets more and more difficult as time goes on.
LGD, what would you say their timing is? When are they really going to go for the 5-man group up to push down the next round of objectives? All those tier 2s and maybe a Roshan.
It's going to come from the Luna really reaching her peak, which this game has gone better for them in that kind of early game stages with those kills not happening on the Luna down bottom. It'd be around now, but I think they've had their timing slowed down by a couple successful ganks onto Luna from the clockwork, which means they're probably waiting till around maybe like 24 to 26 minutes where Luna's got Manta style to go with her item. If anything, a Roche right now could slow down that timing even more. It's kind of that point where they feel like Luna's strong enough to outlast if Luna gets hooked, can we fight is kind of the question. Like, is Luna just going to die and we're going to lose the fight, or can we get in there with Sand King, Blink follow-up, can we save that Luna? And that's going to require a certain amount of survivability and items on Luna, which just aren't quite there yet.
In which case, do you think that BKB is a necessity for LGD after the Manta before they can actually really execute their game plan, or do you think other stat items are more efficient?
Other stat items can be definitely more efficient. As far as like going straight into a Skadi if you want to tank up a huge amount. BKB against this lineup can definitely work against the OD, so it kind of depends how much. It's one of those items you don't want to buy too soon. If you get the BKB, you want to be ending that game in that kind of first, second, or third BKB. Every time you use, you want to get a big object. Like the first one to win a fight, that gets you Roche, and the second one to win a fight, that gets you a lane of Rax. And then by the third or fourth BKB, you want to be very clearly ahead.
Fight around the smokes, you said. Complexity are doing just that. They found a pick off, it looks like, on Victoria, and the hook onto Maybe before Staff immediately goes out as Maybe tries to get himself out of here. A nice 2-man burrow strike, and Maybe's trying to escape with the magic immunity of the spin, but it's just not good enough. Monkeys Forever is sitting duck until Cancel will bail him out with an imprisonment here. The damage over time may still be too much. Yes, a nuke comes out from Ame that will be able to get that kill, but Cancel diving all the way to the tier 2s. He said, damn the tier 2, I'm going to go win. We've already taken out Maybe. We'll make sure we'll get Victoria as well, as Moo managed to get that Omni Slash, and now they'll back up for the big objective. The tier 1 tower is easily going to be pushed back by CoL as they trade a 1-for-2 scenario off of that smoke.
You talk about timings for Complexity. It's the Aegis, having an Aegis as well as having a smoke to lead things off with a pickoff. They get the pickoff, they turn it into a 5v4, and then they're able to just continue that fight. Cancel can play so aggressive with that Rod of Atos, as well as the Aegis on himself, and once he gets another positioning item, like throwing a Blink Dagger or throwing a 4-staff Hurricane Pike type behind him, he's just going to become almost impossible to deal with. So LGD have to be really careful. They're pretty much going to be forced to play like a longer game now, with the Luna trying to just rack up the farm, because it's Complexity who have had enough swing their way that they can take most fights while they've got the Aegis.
Swindles.
Okay.
Fortunately, he TP's out a second early enough that Ame doesn't run into that free kill.
That's one of those mind games where you see him there and LGD is like, okay, he warded, that's why he was there, but no, he wasn't really. He got the ward by the Ancients, but he was positioned in such a spot it looked like he warded near the tower or warded behind the tower.
Yeah, maybe they're thinking, oh, we got a ward behind that tier 1 top, and they're going to go for the push at top lane, but reality, Complexity are just trying to keep eyes on that ancient stack area and make sure that Ame doesn't get too out of control. They're going to the top lane right now, see if they can pick off the Sand King, but Sand King's mobility and a little bit of spidey senses will let him know, thanks to this deep ward, that a couple of heroes are on their way to the top lane push.
Winning this one, definitely possible for LGD with the team fight they've got, but they've got to make sure they don't give Pudge that initiation to start things off. He's got the 8th lens, but it's not on his hero, it's back at base.
Didn't even need the rocket, they had the ward already in place. XZ seems to be a simple pickoff. Maybe he's trying to get there with the imprisonment, but he's not there fast enough. Maybe if he catches Monkeys, they can actually get a turnaround kill, but it's just not the case, it looks like. Blink boards, IG, they're actually committing so much, but
top,
yeah, Bloodlust, Monkeys Forever is out of there, doesn't actually die, and they've managed to already take the tier 1 and get a lot of damage on the tier 2, as there is nobody from LGD in position to be able to defend this.
It's looking like a undefended tower. Moo's got a Echo Saber, which is actually, I'd say, like someone as a pushing item this game, just giving you that ability to just right-click buildings that much faster. It also just tanks you up a bit, some nice stats in there, and we'll see Complexity take 2 towers uncontested. They take the pick off and they don't get punished. Swings going their way as they get closer and closer to forcing a potential game 3 here. But great map control with the deep wards on both the Ancients area as well as around that main Radiant jungle, and their ability to push out these lanes now and play kind of fearless Dota because of having an Aegis. They're starting to really pull ahead. Odie's got a full BKB. There we go. Now you're not scared of the team fight of LGD.
Yeah, certainly not, especially with that Aegis still in hand. He managed to get the imprisonment. They're trying to set up both to defend the Luna and to attack. Complexity try and go for the Luna, but meanwhile Moo has already found GC. They managed to push back the Initiator, which means Complexity can go ahead and focus on Ame, but Ame may be too big. They managed to take out the OD and away from that Aegis, and Moo, he's going to be tossed into cancel. Oh no, this is disastrous. The Macro Pyre burning away Complexity the whole entire time, and now Swindles is just the cherry on top of everything else. They win the team fight against an Aegis and claim 4 kills without losing Ame.
Yeah, Odie just melted in his BKB there. It doesn't really... Yeah, he's got the Aegis and all that, and he just picked up BKB, but his first life was used with the BKB. His second life was effectively for nothing, and that's where LGD can shine, is when they get that beautiful 5-man team fight. Luna dishing out a huge amount of damage there, mostly physical damage just with the bouncing glaives onto the OD, and LGD finally get the team fight they were looking for, and it's Complexity kind of ran into them.
Another initiation. The Mihawk is on cooldown. Monkeys Forever does not have a way out of this one. A 4-staff up, but the damage over time is too much for him to handle. A 4th pickoff. Complexity still remaining with only 1 member up, and now we have a full-on Aghanim Scepter for maybe. God forbid he steals Hook. This could
he's
get
got
real
Omni
dangerous.
Slash, which is pretty nice as well. That was the other big spell. That fight as we'll take one last look to see exactly what happened.
Yeah, Complexity, they lost cancel so early on in this fight. The physical damage of Ame, which seemed to be just too much for him to handle.
I think he's Soul Catcher there is the big thing. I couldn't see if he got the Soul Catcher on the OD or not, but that OD looked incredibly squishy. The big thing is the BKB, he doesn't have any armor items, so Rod of Atos and BKB, neither of which kind of boosting up his survivability. Like even like the Hurricane Pike gives you a bit of agi, like a couple of armor in there. And I think looking at that fight, Cancel's probably thinking, okay, my next time is definitely Shiva's Guard because I got wrecked by that physical damage.
14-13 right now, 25 minutes in. You can see a 4,000 gold lead and a bit over 7,500 experience lead for LGD. Despite everything that Complexity have done for themselves in the early game, gone for these active pickoffs and everything, LGD is still finding a lot more farm, and a lot of it comes down to this Luna being able to utilize these Ancients and Complexity failing to be able to take control of that area.
Yeah. Now we hit that Luna BKB timing. LGD, I think, sensing weakness in the Complexity side. They just win a huge fight. They get Luna. I don't even know if she had the level 3 Eclipse that fight. I imagine she did. She's almost level 18 now, but she is more than ready to take on Complexity once again. And all it takes right now is Complexity to lose one fight, and they could just see a lane of racks go down. Even with these tier 2 towers, one disastrous fight could be very devastating for them.
All these heroes off map, and they know Complexity trying to stage themselves to catch this smoke, but maybe they are still going to be in some trouble. The telekinesis goes down, the Mist Hook as well. Cancels the first one to the target. He's going to be Omni Slash as well. He ends up going down nice and quick. And now we have the Luna streaming forward. With that ultimate, the rest of Complexity have to back away from that fight. No opportunity for payback. They lose Swindles on top of everything else, and sure enough, LGD, they've definitely hit their timing now.
Yeah, that was brutal for Cancel. Complexity kind of initially had the vision advantage, and he threw an Astral, but then he got chain stunned. He couldn't get out of the ice path, then he got lifted, then he got Sanking Burrow Strike. It was just perfect execution from LGD to start things off there, and without the OD, there's no hope for Complexity to take on LGD. He's even got another Omni Slash in 30 seconds. The Aghanim's upgrade, that is absolutely...
Oh, nice quick spin there from Moo. Will manage to dodge that attempted initiation from Sand King. The hook shot actually goes in. Whoa, they already TP'd out with the Juggernaut. I don't think they're going to be able to win this fight as Z-Freak tries to hit the hook, but won't be able to finish off Victoria. Now he's going to be victim of an epicenter. All that he hopes for is a deny from a suicide, but not even that's going to happen. LGD, all of a sudden, they're just gifted not just that tier 2 tower, which was there via forfeit, but they're even granted 2 kills from Complexity as they attempt to fight in a situation that was very not beneficial for CoL, that's for sure.
Now the illusion battles begin.
Oh, now it's just snowballing against them. They don't have their full 5 up. Their tier 3's towers down. Cancel gets picked off, and LGD, they went from hitting their timing to ending this game within 2 minutes. They're going to go straight for the tier 4s because why the hell not? 45 seconds. You've got a Luna with the disruption behind him. The illusions are just going to rip these towers apart, and Complexity are going to be forced into another 4 versus 5 as soon as the pudge is up and their throne is completely exposed. It's not looking good for the boys of CoL. They're going to try and come forward, hit their double hooks, and somehow disrupt this combination. LGD playing a game against them, trying to dance away from this initiation. The hookshot goes down, managed to catch Ame a little bit, but now the disruption, and oh, Jesus, lucky. The physical damage, too much for him to handle. The pullback there of Z-Freak on a meat hook from Maybe, but it's not enough. They lose in the end as their throne is easily going to be victim of LGD's onslaught of pushing power. Game number 2 easily cleaned up by LGD in the end.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you talk about drafts and like you talk about ease of execution, which kind of goes down to like how much room for error is there. Complexity's 0 room for error. One lost big team fight, and you're versing a team that has a huge team fight advantage as far as their draft goes. You lose the game. Shadow Demon Luna with Jakiro, the amount of sheer pushing power that can just destroy you instantly is brutal, and that's what happened to Complexity. That top fight, I imagine that's what Swindles is yelling about. He is so vehemently upset about something right now, and it's got to